Frontier.
Hello, friends and fam, and welcome back to Fandom Frontier. I am one of your hosts, Handsome Dave.
I'm your other host, DJ Zevo.
And if you can't tell, if you're watching us anyways, we have an extra body in the studio, straight from Dark Fox Gaming, the king of cards himself, Don!
Don!
What up? We're super excited to have Don here tonight. If you have clicked on this episode, we are talking about trading cards, and I love trading cards!
I love trading cards. I love them a lot, but I am definitely not an expert on this. Which is why we brought you in, good sir.
I know.
I'm more stoked than ever to share my plethora.
Plethora, the cornucopia of cards.
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm having way too much fun with these card analogies right now. Jesus Christ.
Also, you've had a lot of coffee today. How you feeling, bud?
I feel really jittery, but in the best fucking way. Like I am so. I don't know. I'm just keeping it flowing. Just gotta keep it flowing.
We're really excited, honestly.
I think I'm more excited for Dawn to be here than I am.
Hi, sweetheart.
Yeah, and then there's Penny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a main staple of our show. Again, she's our mascot, anyways. But
Panties.
When Dave and I talked, when we talk about the themes of these episodes, it seems often one of us is more knowledgeable than the other one. Sometimes it's the same. But for this one specifically, we both love trading card games.
Yeah.
But there is so much.
Oh yeah.
There's so many. They're so different, and we're just like, we need some extra hands.
we need the tyrant of tabletop here.
Oh my god!
Oh, he's still going. He's still going.
Dave definitely had that one on reserve.
No, I didn't.
Really?
That was on the fly, motherfucker.
Dave's on it today.
It's the coffee.
Yeah, that's why.
So if it's all good with you guys, let's just dive right on in because we got some questions we want to ask you, sir. And again, super excited that you could be on tonight. That really friggin' hurt, by the way.
I'm beyond stoked, dude. Honestly, I've been over the moon just from the day you even asked me to be a part of this.
Awesome.
I've been stoked.
I mean, when Devin came up with the idea for trading cards, I'm like, Don, because we wanted to start having guests. And by the way, Dawn is our first real guest on. That's not family. That's not family.
Yeah.
Hotness Susie and Dado are real. Don't worry.
Great people, but they're family.
But they're family. So Dawn, we're really happy to have you.
First
Expert. Yes. Cheers to that. Cheers
we're
to
the
that.
history.
Oh, wait.
Wait. We got to get a three-way dink on this.
He's got some
that
PJs
sounds bad.
in there, so we're good. There we go.
There we go.
So I have a really good intro question. Was the one I thought of. A lot of our fans, our audience is pretty wide in terms of the kind of stuff we talk about and into. So can you give us a brief rundown? What is a trading card game?
Trading card game is basically any sort. It's basically any sort of game where you can buy your cards. They're collectible. They have art on them, and it's also like it's all usually based around some sort of mythos. Because if you look at Pokemon, it's based on the whole Ash's venture through through all the different gyms and everything that he has to do, and all the different Pokemon that he finds, and then you've got Magic where it's just an expanding MCU.
It is. It really is. Like it's constantly expanding and adding to it. So.
And I think that's one of my favorite parts. I love lore. Give me a video game that's got good lore, and even if the gameplay isn't that great, I'm still into it. And I think one of my favorite things about trading card games is the expanding universe.
Yeah.
Magic, there's books. They're amazing.
This is what I mean, but even not spoiler alert for later, but like even with that expanding universe, like I mean, there's just like for instance, you like with the Book of the Malazan, like you love your mythos, and like there's just so much, especially with this new Midnight Hunt of Innistrad. There's just so much, like you love The Witcher, and we both do, and that's what pulled me into it. It's just like it's literally The Witcher meets Castlevania, and it's just like there's so much and just is rich in depth, and it's just well rounded. So. Yeah.
And the thing is too is that the entire plane of Innistrad when it comes to Magic, because Magic, if you don't already know, the whole idea of all of the different sets is like the entire Magic year. It is literally a multiverse, and all the different planes are like all your different universes, all kind of like set up, and then you've got the dark void in between, which is where the Planeswalkers go from plane to plane. So having all that, it's like each single plane has so much history to it.
Yeah.
That unless you've either read the lore or really been into the certain specific sets, it's just to go through it all. You you need at least a couple seasons of a TV show.
Absolutely. Penny,
there's
Penny,
like,
are you super excited that Uncle Don and Uncle Devin are here?
There's entire channels just dedicated to talking about the lore of the Magic game itself.
And they're easily like 50 plus videos. Easily.
Easy. Easy.
So it's funny that you brought that up though, because this is something that, as again, someone who's worked at Big B Comics and I've seen the surge in this, one of the things that you brought up was Pokemon.
Yeah.
I'm like, now this is one thing that I do want to ask, because especially with where you're working now, with what I've seen, do you think there'll be another TCG that becomes just as valuable and popular as Pokemon? And do you see that happening in our lifetime? Because Magic has been around forever, and it kind of goes in fluctuation.
Yeah.
It does.
But then Pokemon had like a huge flex. Like it went from some people were playing it was for kids to everyone collecting.
I feel like it hasn't stopped either.
No, it has. Like it tapered off for a little bit there, like in the early 2000s, and then like again peak pandemic, like it's exploded again.
Oh, it has. Collectability has gone through the roof, and
absolutely. And again, as someone who does comics, like I've seen collectability go through the roof.
Well, see, and the thing is with Pokemon too, and actually, it's not just limited to Pokemon. Like Magic went through a huge thing with this as well, where a lot of like the booster box sales and just even singleton
Guilty.
cards,
Guilty.
right?
Guilty.
I love when Dave Spiller just, hey dude, you want to come over and open
some
card
Magic?
Pack? Of course
I do.
Dave Splooge? I mean,
Splooge.
Yeah. Dave splooges on card packs. He loves Magic that much.
I love Magic. What can I say? Yeah.
But that's the thing. You see, this whole pandemic has basically how do I put it?
Has created value.
Well, it's not only created value, but it's a matter of people have been looking so forward to getting back together and getting back to being able to game all together in one spot, that they literally, anything that was either missing in their collections, like they were sitting at home during this entire pandemic, nothing to do. So what do? They hop online and they go through their entire collections. What don't I have? They have time to do this now because they've been at home.
Absolutely.
That's a really interesting point that you bring up. It's almost like the pandemic gave people an opportunity with trading card games to prepare for the end of the pandemic.
I wish. I didn't get that. I worked through it.
It's like you're collecting cards, and in your head you're thinking like, oh, I can't believe I got this. Whatever, like I can't wait to actually use this or something. Or maybe it's just to add to your collection, like you said.
That's it. Yeah.
That's literally where a lot of the cards that I've gotten recently have come from. It was literally me taking a look at, okay, these are all the decks I've had forever. What do I have to do to make them better? But again, like before the pandemic and everything, with work, with paramedic school, with everything I was doing, I didn't have time to actually go through it.
Yeah.
And then when you're home during a pandemic, you can't go anywhere or do anything. I was able to actually go through and suss out what works with my decks, what do I need in my decks, and I was able to actually classify them and find out the missing pieces I needed to make them just dominant.
Trust me, I'm well aware. We've had Magic Nights, and he emphasis on dominant.
So, to sort of add to Dave's question,
wow.
To add to Dave's question, what do you think about, at least, so this is somebody from, like, I'm not into, I really like Magic. I haven't played it for a while. It's the only TCG that I really got into. I understand the popularity of Pokemon, but I'm not super into it. But what do you think about these big streamers and YouTubers who have been buying these insane... I've seen it so much recently. Pay Money Wubby was one of them that was doing it.
Logan Paul was another one.
Logan Paul,
Logan Paul was a dick about it. Though. Like, when he does his fight with Mayweather, he got it turned into a necklace.
Guys like Critical, and Ludwig. Okay. All those guys, I didn't even really know about them that much. I watched Pay Money Wubby for other stuff. I had no, but then there's so many people tuning into these now.
Yeah, because they're not out doing things. They don't have.
So
pandemic has kept everybody.
Do you think this is a great thing for it, or is this just making your cards even more expensive?
To be honest, it's a double-edged sword. At least the way I've seen it. Working at Dark Fox, it's a double-edged sword in the sense.
Or is it a Vorpal blade with Death Touch?
It is a Vorpal blade.
Hey, there's my dirty quote. There we go.
That's not only Death Touch. That's like. It's non-good player touch.
Yeah, true.
It kills the
That's
player.
bad. It's bad touch.
It's
bad touch. It's Cosby touch.
Cosby touch.
Cosby touch.
Wow.
Okay. Anyhow.
It's pudding time, children.
Okay. Anyhow.
But no, it's back to what I was saying with that. It's a double-edged sword in the fact that it's really boosted the popularity of a lot of these card games. But the problem is when they were like, especially with what Logan Paul did, when he glorified that whole Charizard thing, all the kids that were looking forward to those sets coming out in Walmart, they were sold out within a day.
Yeah,
easily.
Theft in Walmart went up huge to the point where some Walmarts don't even carry TCGs anymore.
They weren't even, the boxes were making on the floor. People would just storm the back or the load. Like, it was ridiculous.
Like, it brought a hype to it that it's like, okay, yeah, the collectors with money, awesome. They're coming in, they're buying up everything, and everything is worth more. But let's remember, trading card games, a lot of it is for the kids.
Yeah.
And when the kids don't have access to it, it kind of takes away the principle of the thing, does it not?
It does. It does.
No, that's a really interesting point. I want to say I thought the idea, Wubby wasn't the first one to do it, but I watched his stream where he bought that really rare box and streamers could buy in for individual. Yeah. And it was like, I can't believe each single pack was like $1,000 sometimes or more. Again, like you said, it's really cool for the popularity and the older audience that's already into it. But you're right, these games were originally designed for kids. Yeah. So they're the ones now. It's like, hey, Mom, I want this for Christmas. You know, Mom looks it up, whatever. It's like goes to Walmart and they're not there, or they're online and it's like, why is it $500?
Hey, I want this for Christmas. See, it's like $500. Like, fuck you are. Like,
yeah, right?
Like, literally. And that's the thing is I hate, like, I mean, I saw it every day at Bigby. People just buying this shit up. And then it's just, like, opening packs. And, like, I chirped teenagers. And I'm not even ashamed to say this. Like, they didn't want to open it at the store. And I'm just like, no. You made me do this? You're opening this so I can make fun of you right here. And, like, I did that. And then, like, when they didn't get it, I'm just like, well, that means you have to buy another one.
Yep. Yeah. You know you're going to. Just
and they
do
did.
It. Yep.
And they did. It was like the easiest sell. And I'm sorry, like, if you're listening to this, well, not sorry. Thanks for your money. So
sorry, not sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
But back to your original question about all this. Has the how the pandemic has affected? Do I see anything hitting like Pokemon-esque status, or Magic status?
I forgot you asked that. We're just getting
we missed the first question.
There is one game that I have noticed, and working at Dark Fox, I see these cards all the time. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the game.
Is it Flesh and Blood?
No, it's Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh my God, yeah. Hi.
Yu-Gi-Oh, as much as the cards themselves, I think they've gotten to the point where they're doing the whole black metal album thing where they're just taking a bunch of words, sticking them together, and saying, okay, that's the name of the card.
That's it.
And then you've got
magical flying washer dryer wizard,
right? Exactly.
Like that's literally it. Yeah.
And not only that, but like let's say like Pokemon.
Yeah.
You have you've got your commons, your uncommons, your rares, your holo rares.
Even with Pokemon, it's at least a little creative. Like
the
art matches the name, whereas it's Yu-Gi-Oh was just like, what the fuck am I looking at reading at the same time?
Aren't there a couple, just to counter, aren't there a couple Pokemon that are like clearly pretty lazy?
Oh God, yeah.
Like
there's a flying ice cream cone.
This is stuff like that.
Like stuff like that. Like what the hell are you doing? You just got lazy.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. But yeah, see woo bat.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with Yu-Gi-Oh I find though is, and I don't understand it, is that of all of the stuff that we do, and again, because of pandemic, we've got caps on what we do, but we have an entire area at Dark Fox where we have tables set up, we have office chairs out, people can come in, they can play, we have themed nights, we have tournament nights for everything. The only one that caps out top other than Pokemon is Yu-Gi-Oh.
I was there that night. I remember, like, I have 2 spots left, and they filled in like minutes.
Yeah, and then there's 2 people that came after that had to be turned away at the door because we were at capacity.
Why do you think that is? What is it about Yu-Gi-Oh?
I wish I could give you an answer to that because I'm still wrapping my mind around how the game works.
And the funny thing is that I've noticed too, because again, when I was a kid, I actually used to collect a little Yu-Gi-Oh like for like a half of a year, and like it didn't stop. No. Like it's kept growing and like popular, but like. It's the most popular thing that people are playing because you don't hear about it like Magic or Pokemon. It's just like the underground card game.
I see Yu-Gi-Oh as being the Michael Bolton of TCG. and what I mean by that is that Michael Bolton has sold millions of albums, but you can never find somebody who will own up to buying one.
Yeah. I mean, fair, accurate.
Andy legitimately loves Michael Bolton.
Oh, there we go.
He loves. I think he
Sound guy Andy, you just got sold out, bro.
Stuff like that though, but he knows it's funny though. He does like it and he admits to liking it, but it's the same thing. He'll put on like Michael McDonald or something like that, and it's funny. But he's like, but you know, it's actually not that bad.
Every time I hear Michael McDonald, all I can think of is 40-Year-Old Virgin. It's like, if I have to hear Yamo be there, I'm like, Yamo burn the store down. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So getting back, in your opinion, what makes a well-rounded TCG game? Like, what do you look for, like in a play style, in art, stuff like that?
One of the things that I do love about TCGs is, again, like you guys had touched on before, is the lore. Because and again, I'll go back to Magic with this because Magic is
it's the best
representation.
one. Yeah, absolutely.
Is that you have?
It's been around since the late '80s, right? Late '80s, early '90s. That's right. Yeah,
'92, I think. Was Alpha
that's it. Yeah.
But it's about having the story, and it's about having the cards that have certain, and what they like to call them is certain like they're story based cards, like like each card highlights a part of the story for that plane or for that set.
They even have some of them. They do have that little snippet at the bottom where it has a little bit.
And it's got a little bit of a quote from that part of the story. Yeah. And story spotlight cards. That's what I was. That's the word I was trying to think of. And then that is what makes a good card game, when you can play a game. And it's a game that immerses you.
And you learn.
And you learn. But it's a game that immerses you and brings you, yourself as a person, into the story. Yeah. So you feel a part of the story. Yeah. You feel like you're playing a part of the story. You feel like you've been brought in to a whole new universe.
That's it.
And you're immersing yourself in it, and you're playing it, and you're having fun doing it. That's what makes a good card game. Magic does it by bringing you into the storylines on the planes. Pokemon does it by making you feel like you're a trainer coming in and battling all the other trainers.
Like, it literally does feel like the classic game. Like, when you're literally face to face with an opponent, you have your roster of Pokemon. Yeah. Like, that's actually, I never really thought of that until you mentioned it. But that's exactly what that does.
It's like it's bringing you right into the television show. You feel a part of it.
And the other thing, it's funny that you mentioned this too, is with Magic, it's one of those things where if it's not broke, don't fix it. Yes. The original, the original core gameplay is still there. Yeah. Like, how Magic started is still there. They've added stuff to it, but they've never had to revamp it. It's like, it is literally, we've made the wheel. It's the Oreo. We've made the wheel. Why perfect it?
Exactly.
That's
made
it.
The wheel. Why make, instead of, why make it octagonal when it works so much better round.
And Magic is, like, I think the crown jewel of that, because, like, it's never had to evolve. It's the same game, different play modes, like Commander, Classic, like all of that is prevalent, but at the same time, still the same way you play.
It is. Well, exactly. And you see, that's the other thing too, is like it evolved to a point where, again, you originally, when Magic first came out, you had Standard. Yeah. Standard was your 60 card decks. Yep. Four copies of card at max, and you made your 60 card decks, whether you wanted to go monocolor, whether you wanted to go
bicolor, tricolor,
exactly, all the way up to including all 5, like I do with some of mine, because I'm a dick. But
those dragon decks, buddy.
Oh, dude,
dragons and slivers.
Garth One Eye, he's a nasty little. Yeah. And speaking of which, and I'm going to go off on a little bit here because
that's
I've got this.
That's why we brought you here.
That's what we do here, which we go off. So.
I've got this brand new deck I'm working on that is definitely going to piss you off. It's literally a lands deck.
And the podcast is over. Fuck all of you. I'm done.
I've been your host, DJ Seatdog.
And it's literally 99 lands in the deck.
What the hell?
99 lands with one commander.
Oh, I know where this is going. I hate this already. I hate you. I hate you, and I hate anyone who plays like this. I hate you so much. I hate you just as much as your stupid sliver decks.
That is one deck I will never make.
I hate sliver decks.
Whether it's in
For those of you that don't know what slivers are, in the game of Magic, there's these creatures called slivers. They have like a little claw and then a fucked up head. They're completely broken because anytime you play one, it's like all slivers have this, all slivers can do that, all slivers can. So it's basically like your entire deck is just you can't beat it. Like it's just like you can beat it, but it's just annoying.
You have to beat them by turn 2.
That's it. Like I mean, if you're not beating them in the first 3 rounds, you're not winning at all. Like it's stupid.
That's why. Remember that when I first met your one buddy there, Ken.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, so which one am I going to do?
Ken and his godlike squirrel.
When he's like, I'm going to either squirrels or slivers. I'm like, dude, you play your I'm out.
Yeah.
I do it on arena too. As soon as if I'm playing brawl on arena and it shows that the guy's got a first sliver there, I'm
done. Yeah.
I will not play them because it just makes me too angry.
That's it. I mean,
and they're too overpowered.
But the funny thing is, I think that's everyone in the Magic community too. It's like everyone hates them but loves them at the same time because
very much so.
If you're playing them,
if you're playing them, you love them. But if you're playing against them, you hate them. So
see, there are some decks like that though I don't mind. Like mill decks, I despise playing against them, but I understand it, and I play.
Kayla's Foretell deck. That one's fun.
That one's fun. That was I had a little bit of a hand in making.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. Okay, we're getting too much on tangent.
Right.
So yeah.
Too much off.
I wanted to. Can I add to like you asked like what makes a good trading card game? I want to add to it. I think sort of counter to what you said about the lore. There's a little documentary on Magic, and I know that there's these 2 Italian brothers.
Yeah.
They love the oldest version of Magic, and it seems like they couldn't give less of a shit about the lore. They love the replayability of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's so. For me, I'm like you. I honestly, Destiny took a lot of inspiration from Magic when it comes to the lore, especially in Destiny 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's literally cards that you collect that give you the lore.
Yeah.
A little bit of lazy on your part, Bungie. You're better than that. But
are they though?
Not
they
really.
They were better than that.
But I think that's interesting that when you get a random auto rifle, there's always a little lore thing there, or a quote from somebody.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, but at the same time, there's people that play Magic that are just concerned with what's the best deck, how can I make my deck better, what's cool about it. 2 completely different things that work so well together for this game.
And see, that's another thing that kind of makes TCG games what they are, because like for people like me, I love a good story.
Yeah.
And that's why
story and art.
My answer for the question is what makes a good TCG game? It's a game that you can be a part of the story. That's what it's like.
That's actually
other people though, like other people are like, they look at a card game the same way they do a board game. Mm-hmm. It's like it's a fun way to pass time. It's fairly simple, fairly easy, but it's just like like reading a comic, like being a comic fan. You can read like one story arc of like, let's say Punisher, or one story arc of, but if you really want to delve into it, there's so many different story arcs. There's so many different sides.
You're preaching to the choir on this one.
Exactly. But like that's the thing. Like,
ta-da! Yeah.
Like that mirrors over to this like the idea around TCG games, because some people just play it as a way to pass time. It's fun. They enjoy it. There are other people who are looking for that little extra more, and again, stuff like Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh. They have the stories behind them that you can immerse yourself in.
Exactly. I like that. And for me, it's the art. Because as an artist,
that's
like
part of it.
It's the art and the story that have to work in. It's like comics for me. Again, it's comics and trading cards are the same. Art and story have to work in tandem with one another. And that's the thing is like Magic. I've been collecting Magic since I was 4. But the thing is, since then it was just for the art. I didn't actually learn how to play Magic until I was like doing D&D in high school. So that's things because I could understand the game then. So that's for me. I collected for the art. Later, I'm collecting for the art and the story. Now I'm collecting because I love all of the aspects.
Everything about it, right? I think there's so many different art styles. Like it's a game that's been around for so long that there's so many different art styles.
This is why I love modern packs of Magic, because those set boosters, they actually come with an art card that has like the actual panel of art, but blown up, and it's beautiful. Like again, our favorite artist, Mike Walsh from Hamilton. He for the new Midnight Hunt of Innistrad.
He killed it.
He killed it. He has there's a original Mike Walsh. That's the page from Silvercoin over there. It just appeared randomly.
You know how much we love Silvercoin.
Yes, but he's done like 4 cards for the new series, and of course, when I found that out, I'm like, I gotta collect the Mikey Walsh cards. Come on, so. And that was just a great.
They are awesome.
They're awesome. They're like 3 of them are werewolf.
Yeah.
4, actually, all of them are werewolf. All of them. He did 4 werewolves. Yeah, and he did amazing. So
that whole you can I still like, even if you take the art card, like the art for the regular art for Tovar, or Tovalar, and then you take the showcase art, which Mike did, it's so much better.
It is,
because he captured the entire feel of Innistrad.
He did. He really did.
And that's one of the things that I find Magic is very on and off with. Sometimes they'll have sets where the art is really cool, but it doesn't really encapture the plane. Like, personally speaking, Strixhaven.
Yeah.
Strixhaven I found...
But again, that's Harry Potter meets Magic.
Exactly.
Which isn't a bad thing. It just didn't work well.
No, it didn't. Like, the what do you call it? The Mystical Archive cards, the sorceries that had all that Japanese art, that was cool.
That was cool.
But on top of that, like, when you take a look at the showcase cards and everything, they didn't have that connectivity.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, what Michael did with the showcase art for Innistrad, and what all the other artists as well did for the showcase art in Innistrad, it just fits.
Yeah.
It fits like a jigsaw puzzle.
But that's like
perfectly.
I didn't know that his was like kind of like a variant almost, because like I originally popped the Tavern Ruffian, which is one that he did, but it wasn't his artwork. I'm like, that's weird. I thought it was, and then the next pack I got the Tavern Ruffian. I'm like, wow, so there's 2 different versions of this. I really like that. So, because for me, like, I know Mike's art from comics, and I really like Mike's art for that. But it's just like it's kind of like getting that variant cover, and I'm just like, this is really cool as like from a collector's standpoint. So no, I again, like that's one thing for me, like, what makes a great TCG is that those 2 have to work in tandem.
And that they actually connect.
They can.
Just,
Oh,
I like this art, but the art has to encapsulate the story. It
Absolutely.
has to help tell the story.
Absolutely, and that's with comics.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Dev, you have another question?
Yeah, well, not another question. I just want to add one more thing. That I want to point out that this goes for any game, really, board game or not. Any game that's designed for pretty much anyone to be able to come in and play within a couple minutes of learning it, but becomes increasingly more complicated as you get more into it, is a well-designed game.
Yes.
Magic has to be one of the most perfect examples of that. You could teach somebody how to play basic Magic in 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all been playing for years. I haven't played in many years, but I did play for a couple years. Even when I thought I was getting a little bit good, I would play somebody that had...
But that comes to strategy, though.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You can learn how to play it. It's super simple. I started to think I was getting better, and I got absolutely...
Joke's on you!
Yeah, my first little tournament that I went to in Dundas, used to be this little comic book store in Dundas. I got mucked.
Yeah.
I got destroyed, and there were strategies. I was like... This is so simple. Why didn't I think of this?
Yeah,
I would encourage anyone to try trading card games at some point. I just wanted to add that. That goes for any game,
it's
really.
True. Yeah.
But if it's designed simply, another like board game like that I really love is Carcassonne.
Carcassonne.
Oh
it's such a simple game.
Yeah.
I taught my 14-year-old nephew how to play it. I beat him multiple games in a row in a pulp, and then once he started to tweak his play a little bit, the whole thing changes. There's so many more things that open up to you. So, all right.
Another good game like that. Another good game like that too. Also made by the guys who did Magic Wizards of the Coast. They were the ones that created Betrayal of the House on the Hill.
Yeah.
Such one of our
we talk anytime board games come up. That's the game that we go to. Betrayal. Yeah, it's so good.
So
if you haven't played it, play it.
If you haven't played it, you can play this game 60 times over and
it'll be different.
It'll never be the same.
Not only does the board change all the time, but the scenario changes.
Yeah.
And that's the best part. Yeah.
Oh man, the first time I ever played that game.
We need to play it soon, all 3 of us, because it's such a good game.
I'm
It's
so down.
such a good game.
I still want to try that Widow's Peak expansion you got.
Oh, it's cool.
Oh, dude.
It is cool. So Devin, you have the next question.
Yes. So this one's gonna be: which trading card game do you think is overhyped and why?
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Again?
You heard it here, folks.
You kind of already answered it.
That's not my...
You don't understand why it's popular. Can you explain a little bit about what's different from, like, for somebody like me that doesn't know? Compare it to Magic or Pokemon for me. Explain a little bit of the difference.
You kind of can't though, because it's
very very similar. It's almost it's identical to Pokemon and stuff, and it is identical to Magic in the way that it's played with, like, you know, you've got spells, you've got traps, like the traps are like your counter spells, but the thing I find with it is that it's a game where with Magic they put certain things in place so that you can't overpower your deck to the point where you can win in turn 1. With Yu-Gi-Oh, depending on, like, there are cards that can practically guarantee you a win from, like, your first draw and your first, you know, your first play. Yeah. That will guarantee you your win. And it's like,
I mean, granted, there was Platinum Angel.
Well, yes.
There was Platinum
How
Angel.
about let's not speak Platinum Angel?
Is there less strategy?
For those of you that don't know,
Magic? What about Pokemon?
For me, I can say that there's a lot of strategy in Yu-Gi-Oh. I just think it's overhyped.
Is it the milk toast of TCGs? Is it the basic bitch of TCGs?
It's basically baby's first Magic.
Oh, I like that.
It's baby's first Magic.
That's a perfect way to put it, and that's
maybe that's why it's so popular. It's easy to get into.
Yeah, but in the fact that it's an easier game to kind of grasp, because when you look at Magic now, you walk into Magic now, there's so much stuff you have to know to even be able to
I'm like
compete.
that. When the stuff that Dave's telling me now, I'm just like, I
mean, right now with Innistrad, you have like a moon shift thing that it's just
daytime.
Daytime, nighttime. Switches nighttime, you flip your card over and it's a werewolf. That's what I mean,
right? That's crazy.
It's cool though.
It was hilarious when they first we first did our Midnight Hunt draft 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And I swear I had the entire store in tears because this is the first time you had that daytime and nighttime thing. Yeah. So I literally went out of my way to the first time I made it nighttime. I was like, nighttime! Daytime! Nighttime!
I thought you were gonna tell me you yelled back and hit the lights.
You played a game of daytime, nighttime.
I couldn't help it. I had to.
That's
and
amazing.
I think the entire store just broke. It was hilarious.
That is incredible.
So back to what you were saying.
Well, and I think maybe I'm like working up a stupid theory right now. Do you think it's possible that because of the, I'm going to say oversaturation of Pokemon, that there's a chance that some of these kids are like, well, there's all this Pokemon, maybe I want to try something different? Yeah. They go for Yu-Gi-Oh and it's easy to get into?
Well, it is, and
it's the gateway drug to Magic.
Well, is it Pokemon? Is it Pokemon's fault that Yu-Gi-Oh is so popular?
Yu-Gi-Oh is also much cheaper per pack, though.
There you go.
Yeah. Like a classic Yu-Gi-Oh!
That meme that's like, Mom, I want Pokemon. We got Pokemon at home, and it's just Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh! is the dollar store Pokemon.
It literally is, though.
So maybe kids ask for Pokemon, the parents buy them Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's why everyone likes it.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on the game, and I'm not hating on the players of the game. But it's just like, for me, I'm still trying to wrap my head around, like, it is literally a simplified version of Pokemon and Magic. At least from my experience so far. There's still stuff I have to learn in the game, but like when it comes down to the cards, like in Magic, you have your uncommons, your commons, your rares, and your mythics. In Pokemon, you've got your rares, commons, uncommon, secret rares, and then you've got like, you know, your
VMAX, Gigantamax.
But you see, Yu-Gi-Oh does it in such different way because all it has to do is have one more little holographic thing. You've got your commons, your uncommons, your rares, your prismatic rares, your super ultra rares, your rare rares, like all these things.
So they make it to the point where it's especially for kids, it's even more addicting.
It's like going Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball Z. You got Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan God.
Yes.
Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan God.
And then until they just start putting numbers on it.
Yeah, right.
And that's
Super Saiyan 9.
Super Saiyan 9, God, Super Saiyan.
And I think that's why Yu-Gi-Oh is so much more addictive to players because it's the collectability. It's the collectability.
Super Saiyan him to
it's ultra rares, your super rares, your prismatic rares, your like there's another one that goes up there. Ultra secret rares and all.
It's Jesus
to
Murphy.
Collect them all.
It's funny that you're saying it now. So somebody that's learning about Yu-Gi-Oh now, all these little things are. So what you're saying is, it's cheaper to get into. Yeah. There's an oversaturation of Pokemon.
Again, gateway drug.
There are multiple more secret super rare versions of the card. Yeah. And like I said, there's that recipe right there is just like...
That's enough.
Yeah. And again, like I said, there's probably kids that want, like, hey, Mom, like, I'm into Pokemon now or whatever. And Mom's like, I went to Walmart, there's a Pokemon about this. Comes home with Yu-Gi-Oh! And the kid's like, oh, this is shit. And then they open it and they're like, oh, well, now I kind of want more.
Yeah.
When you get like that first washing machine with 2 AK-47 attached to it, and it's like, cool, I'm into this.
Yep.
Brop, brop. So yeah, so from there, kind of adds to it a little bit. You've been collecting for a while.
Very long time.
Very, very long time, which perfect.
Ever since high school.
Even better. So
before the turn of the millennium.
This question actually is perfect for it. If there was one card you wish you still held on to from when you first started collecting, what was it, and why do you wish you still had it?
You had that.
I did.
And I'm really looking forward to it.
I swear to God, if this is the answer I think it is, and I find out you don't have it, these people might see me slap you.
Oh no! I deserve I deserve like a skull booting.
Oh no.
Back when I was in high school, and like we're talking just entering high school, so this would have been, to give you an idea, 92, 93.
When Magic first started.
Yep. I had a friend of mine who had bought these 2 Magic packs.
Oh my God! I know where this is going.
I'm just going to spoil it now. It was a Black Lotus.
I
had
knew
an
it.
original Alpha Black Lotus, and I didn't even know what the game was at the time because a friend of mine had bought 2 packs of it. He had no one to play, so he taught me how to. It would just be me and him in the lunchroom playing this game.
You were actually using the Black Lotus in play.
Well, yeah.
Which is so funny because that obviously at the time that would have been totally normal. But looking back on it, people are just like, ah!
And the thing is that out of the 2 packs,
Can you quickly, because our audience might not know, just
Before Don,
yeah,
how much?
Hold your hand out.
I deserve this. I deserve that.
This card
Yes,
was
just
featured
what it
on
says.
Pawn Stars, just to let you know how expensive this
How
card
much
is.
did what's the highest price a Black Lotus is sold for?
Very recently, the most recent Black Lotus, I think, was a PSA 9.5 or 9.
Which is like CGC.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's how they rate the quality of the card.
Yeah.
PSA 9.8 went for $500,000.
$500,000 for a piece of cardboard.
Piece of cardboard. Yeah. So
I can't believe you had one.
I would have punched you in the dick.
I don't know. I don't actually know anyone
This
that's
was
ever.
legitimately the one answer I did. I was so worried, Don, because I knew you were there for when it first started.
I don't think I know anyone that's ever touched a Black Lotus until
Well,
now.
now we do,
That's what I
and
mean.
now we know. I don't even know.
I'm not talking about even owning it,
what
which you did.
To it. I don't
Touching it.
I got out of the game coming out of high school. I got out of the game. It what like no, I didn't know anyone that played anymore.
I don't want to know.
Hindsight's
I
a
gave
bitch.
You don't. Oh, you just gave it away.
I gave them away.
You made at some point whoever ended up. I hope it's not in some garbage pile somewhere that would make me cry. Whoever ended up having that card way down the road, I wish you all the best.
I don't.
Because you're a very lucky person.
I feel like it's probably the one mess up I've made in my life, and I've made a lot of mess ups in my life. Look at me, but it's the one thing that I've done in my life that I wish I could take back. But it's one of those things where, like, see, when we had it in the two packs that we had, because again we were kids, it was the only 2 box. Like we only had 2 starter decks, and the one I had a Black Lotus in it, and the one he had a Chaos Orb. So if you know the idea of the 2, they're 2 of the Power 9.
Yeah.
I chose, like he gave me the deck that I chose. I liked the look of I didn't really understand what it did at the time, but I liked the look of the Black Lotus, and I bought the pack off him for $5, and we played it every single. $5.
Don't think an answer has ever depressed me so much than hearing that, and that's saying a lot because we've talked about some heavy shit on this podcast. I think that answer, I now feel like I'm in a black hole.
We've also talked on this podcast about like nostalgia and
so
love
afraid.
and loss, and we've talked about toys that we wish we used to have that are worth a couple $100, maybe $1,000 even. Nintendo games, original NES, all that stuff. The Black Lotus is a completely different whole thing. But now that you mentioned it, also explain the unique situation that a lot of Chaos Orb cards came into. I'm talking about essentially with people ripping them apart.
Oh well, see, there's that, and there was an entire block that came out where they brought the Power 9 cards back, and they reprinted them. But the whole idea is that when you play them, in order to play them, after you play them, they have to be ripped apart and destroyed.
So the Chaos Orb is in a unique situation where you actually tear the card apart to use it.
You have to tear the card apart to use it, and there's a Black Lotus version of that as well.
Yeah.
Where it's like as sacrifice it to get 3 mana of any color for the Black Lotus, and what you have to do is you literally have to take the card, you have to rip it up and throw it on the ground, and that's the actual playing text on the card,
which is so cool.
That it has to be destroyed after play.
I've seen, well, I don't know the person, but I have seen somebody who does own an original Chaos Orb and one Torn Apart original that they keep in a very little plastic bag so they can use it in play, put all the pieces back in, and then still have the unripped.
Wow.
Yeah. I saw it and I was like, that's crazy.
That's an amazing
But
idea.
it's hilarious to think that if they use it or they're showing it, they're like, you're looking out for all these little, like, don't touch that piece. Nobody breathe. Don't knock that off the table.
Yeah, that's that. As far as the story as to anything I've ever had that I wish I never had gotten rid of, I wish I had never given that back to Magic Cards. That was literally like by the time I gave that away.
I've never had this separation from reality as I do right now.
Dude, I still can't.
This card is worth a house.
It's literally
it's worth
half a house now.
Oh, we're in Canada. You live. Go to another country. It's 2 houses.
We make fun of Devin for the Technodrome all the time on this.
Yeah, I had the Technodrome.
This doesn't even like count. Like
no,
I have no words. You know what's funny? Like in my head, I'm just like, I'm gonna ask Dawn this question. I'm gonna laugh so hard if it was a Black Lotus.
We both were thinking it.
And then like at this point, when I actually hear it out loud, I'm like, my God, this isn't even funny.
And the last time I checked in with the buddy of mine that I had that sold me that literally that little box of cards for $5. He still has his Chaos Orb from that other deck.
Wow.
And it's, to me, I didn't, again, like, if I had hindsight is 2020.
Hindsight is a bitch.
Yeah, it really is.
We talk about that a lot on this show.
Dev, make this happy again. Ask your next question.
Please. Let's get off this.
Oh, man. Yeah, so tell me about what... I was going to say, what's your favorite trading card game? But I'm going to rephrase it a little bit. Tell me why you love trading card games so much. Give me, not to try to get somebody into it, but for you personally, you've talked about Mythos and stuff like that, but you also play it. Why do you do what you do? Get that you're really into it.
It's called addiction. At this point,
there's so many other things to be. There's other things.
I get it because I have the same addiction.
There are other things to be addicted to. Tell me why you love it.
I would rather take Magic over heroin.
Yeah, there you go. That's a really good
I'm just going to say it.
Hey, you get the same.
It's cheaper, too.
It's cheaper, you get the same high, and you don't get the dope sick, and you're not crapping your bed. It's perfect.
I'm not chasing any high, it stays consistent. So
no, but you're still you're depending on the type of deck you're making, you're still chasing that dragon.
Yeah, I know.
Chasing that dragon.
You're still not getting my time at, so
no, I know. But no, in all fairness, it's for me what makes me love TCG games so much is like obviously I've already touched on the fact that how much I love the lore because again, like I read the books. I've even like written tiny little bits of fan fiction that'll never go anywhere because
That's
awesome.
I actually didn't know that about it.
I don't talk about it much, but it's like
if
I
you're
come up with background.
I would love.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm interested in reading it because it's not Twilight fan fiction.
I know we just met, but I've already explained how much I'm into lore. Hi, sweetheart. Sorry. If you. I want to read it. If you ever are willing to share, please.
Yeah, we're into it. We'd never read it on the air.
No. This would be like a personal
thing. This would just be us. Like I'm into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely.
We're gonna read it on our podcast. We're gonna rip it apart. No, I'm kidding. We're just like behind the scenes.
Like it's basically just because the thing is it's like again it goes back to the idea of comics. So like this is me just touching on the lore part of it. It's like you can take a comic book character that you love and anybody can sit there and write a story arc.
Yeah.
Yep.
And see, for me and my love of writing and my love of plot twists and just stuff that hits you in the gut, I love being able to take that and kind of mold it in my own fashion. And like when you get to build your own decks with games that are very heavily attached to lore, it's like you're getting to make your own fan fiction because you're making your own deck. You're adding your own little bit to the lore that surrounds, the set that you're playing with, or that surrounds the version you're playing, whether it's Commander or Standard. Like that's what I love. That's the one thing I love about it. The second thing I love about it, aside from the lore, because I'm a big lore dude, is the fact that regardless of your age, you can get together and you can play. A 12-year-old who knows their Pokemon inside and out can sit there and play with like an 18-year-old and sometimes wipe the floor with them. I've seen it. I've seen it.
There's one thing that I do love is seeing like a 6-year-old kid wipe the floor with like this 50-year-old that's literally collecting out of like monetary value.
Yep.
And this kid's collecting because he loves to play.
Yeah.
Just seeing that, I'm just like, yeah, you got what you deserve. Fuck Nugget.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, and that's the thing too, because like as much as
there's a crossover with Just Thoughts. Bro, fuck Nugget over.
And see, that's the thing. Like, as much as I've seen a big thing with like feuds and battling it out, and people like people getting like annoying each other while playing.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's bringing people together.
Yeah.
For what is supposed to be a fun experience, and then 9 times out of 10, it is a fun experience. At least with the community that comes and plays at Dark Box.
Yeah.
Everybody is so good to each other. You don't see saltiness. You don't see like BS. Like it's a bunch of people coming out just to have fun.
Yeah.
And TCG can bring people together. Hell, I know people who have met and gotten married because they met playing each other at a TCG
That's super
game.
cool.
And I'll admit, like I think that's where I like trading cards more than comics sometimes, is because that sense of community. Because with comics, I think that the community is fucking toxic. It's toxic as hell.
Yeah.
And whereas TCG is like you're playing a game with someone. Like
it's a game.
You're bonding with someone. You're having fun. You're trading tips. You're trading cards. Like it's stuff like that. Like I mean, you and I have become much better friends just because like you and I play Magic. We have that in common. It's common ground. And that's
I also anything where there can be like anything that can have some kind of competitive nature to it will obviously eventually there will be situations like that. That's just But you're right, for the most part the Magic community, like they're so varied and so incredible. Like I said, that little mini documentary, it's essentially this little short thing about these 2 Italian brothers that are in their 40s that play at you would not quote unquote picture them being the typical Magic players.
Yeah.
But they go to play their local games and they love it. Like it's just anybody can play this and get involved. And again, you get so many different people. The community is super varied, but ultimately you're all there for the love of the game.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And the thing is that regardless of how people get like, they all get like, because like I've seen collectors be very, very uppity and snotty about like their collection is the best and blah, blah blah. But the thing is that underneath it all, it's just a game.
It's a game.
It's a game. It's a game where you can have fun. It's a game where you can make it what you want to make it. You can make it the most important thing in your life and spend every single cent of your income on it, like me. Or
remember,
do it for a job.
And that's the thing.
The first step to recovery is admittance. So
it is. It's almost gotten to the point where I've almost gone to Austin and Chelsea, the owners of
Dark Box.
And I've almost been like, all right, well, you're paying me to work here, but I'm just turning around and giving you my paycheck anyway.
Pretty much,
so why not just pay me in store credit, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's one of those things where like you can either do that, or you can buy one deck, be happy with the one deck, and have a friend of yours that buys another deck and sit down and just play
the game.
Not like nonchalantly. No, it's just a game. But
that's it.
It varies on how deep you want to you want to take it.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about it. And that's what I love about TCGs is like anybody can play them.
So
anybody.
This is perfect. This is perfectly way into the last question. Mm-hmm. And this one I think you're gonna have fun with.
Oh boy.
If you could turn any movie, TV, comic, or video game into a TCG, what would it be and why? Would you make it a collector series or a card game? And what would be the mechanics if you thought it this far?
Oh, you love me. You really
I know I do. Yeah.
Oh, if I could take anything and turn it into a TCG. Well, see, right off the bat,
I will give you mine, and I feel like Devin will really like mine as well. I would turn Destiny into a TCG where you have a base Guardian and you get equipment as well as creature cards and boss cards, and you have to basically build a fire team with your friends, and it basically play kind of like Munchkin, but not Munchkin at the same time where you'd have to fight.
How have they not done that?
Right?
Bungie wants to make money all the time. How have they not done this?
You should create a TCG for Destiny, and I think there would be so much replayability, collectability, and just like
Lore's
again,
there.
the lore's there, the cards are there. Like the cards are already in the game, and I'm just like create that as an actual physical card game to hold in your hand. You have a base Guardian who's just blank, and then you have a overall card that you can add cards to upgrade their armor and everything while you play.
It's actually really awesome how you came up with that question, because we have like there's a lot of anime series and stuff that were animes back when we were kids are now card games. Like perfect example, Dragon Ball Z. Now a card.
Absolutely,
now a card game.
absolutely.
So
and it's actually a really well balanced card game.
Yeah, it really is.
Too. Yeah,
it really is. What bothers me about Dragon Ball Z is that it doesn't have the traction the others have.
Fair.
Like we have had the same boxes of Dragon Ball Z cards in the store, I think, since I started.
But the thing is, I've had the exact opposite. When I was at Big B, we couldn't keep them in stock.
Really?
They were flying off. People would buy the full boxes of them.
Really?
Yeah.
See, and like that's like.
But I think it's also because we had other Dragon Ball Z merchandise as well.
Oh, my brain is so on this Destiny train. I'm thinking, I'm gonna get a nosebleed soon. I'm just like, oh, you can do so much with that.
That's what I mean. And then in the pack of cards, not only will you have like weapons, armor upgrades, but you could also get monsters. You can get like the Fallen.
Your rares would be like your exotic armor. That's so cool.
Exotic armor or final bosses. Like you could get Crota. You could get the Taken
like
King.
Munchkin.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you'd buy the base set, which is your blank Guardians.
Stop giving your idea away. We gotta call Activision.
We gotta call Bungie.
Oh yeah.
We have Bungie to fund us on this, but yeah.
But we're gonna pitch it to Activision.
Fair. They won't make everything a DLC that people have to buy extra.
Ooh.
Actually, the DLC is the packs. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Myself, I'd have to say, if I was to see any movie, anything turn into a TCG, I would like to see a TCG of like the horror universe.
Yeah.
Because you could really turn.
I knew. That's why I asked this question. Yeah.
Like look what they did with the Friday the 13th, the online game that they made, where Kane Hodder did and Video Cap as Jason.
Yeah.
Like
that game's fun.
You can play as Jason or you can play as the counselors, but it'd be really cool because I've thought of this a lot lately. Wouldn't it be cool to have a horror themed type thing like Magic, where you had certain characters that was able to planeswalk or go between the Friday 13th universe into the Nightmare on Elm Street universe, into the Hellraiser universe, into the Evil Dead universe, and be able to collect different artifacts.
So many.
You're talking about a Dead by Daylight card game. Holy shit.
Yes, exactly.
That's so good.
I think what's so cool about that is you could battle like different horror characters, but you could also have heroes. You could have Isaac from Dead Space fighting Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
That
Holy
is so
shit.
Cool.
All right.
Like, that's something I wish I'd like to see.
Ash versus like whoever. Ash versus Isaac. Ash versus.
I'm thinking like you get like Ash from Evil Dead, Ripley from Alien.
Isaac, please.
Going up against Pumpkinhead.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You get joke characters.
See what I mean? That's what I was going for.
You get some funny weird characters. You get like Ernest in there as like a hero.
Jim Barney.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
Wow,
So yeah, that's our episode right now.
What about my pick?
Oh yeah, Jeff, do you want to?
I not nearly as thought out as that, but I was just thinking again. I love Dead Space so much. Ooh. I think you can do anything with that franchise. I would want some kind of trading card game where it's almost like a game that I showed Dave and I made him hate it, but Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah. Hate that game.
No, it's a great game. It was my fault. It's not. The idea in Darkest Dungeon is it's a really tough game. You die a lot and you're constantly getting new heroes to come in and play. Mm-hmm. But there's another element to it. Well, the deeper you go in these dungeons, your characters start doing sanity checks and stuff like that because there's no light. So you have to have light. So I think elements like that, where you have a character like Isaac who's not really supposed to be a hero, and you're fighting almost like did you guys ever play Thunderstone?
Yeah.
So where there's like a rotating monsters and you're having to like resupply and stuff like so. This almost sounds more like a board game, but I think the characters that you would collect in this version of Dead Space, the trading card game, would be like you could get rare monsters, you could get armor upgrades, or Isaac in his different suits and stuff like that. I think that would be something that would be really,
that'd be really
fun.
cool, actually. So now that we're at the end of our questions, we jump into a segment called Book Club.
Yes.
All
Book Club.
over this.
This is what I'm very
I like the
excited.
sound of this.
This is what I'm very excited about because this is the first time we've done Book Club that all three of us have actually read the issue that we're going to be talking about tonight.
Ah, yes.
So the issue we are going to be talking about tonight is by Boom Studios, people that do Something's Killing the Children. Magic the Gathering, the comic book, which is fantastic. I am super excited to talk about it. I lent it to Devin to read. Don's been collecting it.
Oh, yeah.
I picked up the first issue and loved it. But Devin, what did you think of Magic the Gathering?
I love it. So
Yeah.
I have read I love fantasy. Obviously, we've talked about it before, but I did read one of my favorite series. I don't remember who wrote it. Is the magic story about Phyrexia. And,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. New Phyrexia. Was it New Phyrexia or what they did on Mirrodin on the planet Khan was trying to do?
It's before that. So this is exactly.
Okay.
The battle with on Phyrexia, the creation of Karn,
Yeah.
all that. I didn't even know that much about Magic. I picked it up at a used bookstore. I think, you know what? We were houseboating with our family.
Nice.
When we go houseboating, there's this little antique shop that we always stop at when we're going through the locks. They sell so much shit overpriced. It's insane. Our houseboat could only play tapes. The music player in it was tapes.
Nice.
Which is hilarious. And I went in there and I bought a bunch of tapes. I bought like Huey Lewis and the News and shit like that.
Nice.
It was funny, but they were way overpriced.
Commercially and artistically.
Yeah, but there was a couple used books there, and it was the first of this Magic series. I was like, I need something to read in case I'm just sitting out. I finished it in like 2 days. Got home, was like, I'm just gonna obviously have to go and finish it. They're great books. They're really well written. Like we said, the lore's already all fleshed out. So to get a comic book version of the starting of something like that was awesome. There's not too much in the first issue.
What I love about it is it read like Avengers meets the Magic world.
Yeah.
It's like there's like over a bunch of assassins get sent to the Planeswalker Temple, and the Planeswalkers intervene, and then they're just like, cool, we're calling a meeting of the Planeswalkers. And
the Guild Pact next.
The Guild Pact, sorry, yes. And they're all going to sit there and talk about and debate, but they all come from different backgrounds. So you're just like, they agree, but they don't agree. And then it's just like, cool. It's kind of like a murder mystery almost, but not really. But it's really well done because they give each one of them, it's not like Avengers where it's like we're a team. They give them all individual personalities.
Yes.
And they all either conflict or work well with. And it's this team is brought together by a very fragile...
necessity, not because they want to be.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. And not only that, it's because... I'm not a spoiler guy. But
no, of course.
Because,
you can spoil stuff in this segment. This is fine, yes.
But with who sent these assassins and how he sent them, it wasn't just that these Planeswalkers were picked. These assassins were sent directly to them. Yeah. There's a reason why. The one assassin that was sent to Jace.
Yeah.
My boy.
His mind up. Messed his mind up.
I want to say quickly, just to our fans, because we kind of keep talking about Planeswalkers, they are the people in the Magic universe that can go between the multiverse. They have something called the Spark. They're very special.
Yes.
That's what allows them to basically open. They basically can open a portal through time and go from one plane, which is a universe, to another plane, which is a separate universe.
And that gives them very different, but all very they have special abilities.
Yeah,
they're all Jace is all about the mind.
Yeah.
And he gets pretty fucked up in the first issue.
He does. He does.
And that's the thing, because all the assassins that were sent were of a certain ilk to go after a certain planeswalker.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like the one that
they
was
were almost
Jace,
like designed to go after each individual.
The one that went after Vraska had
also shout out Vraska. She's
badass.
Basically, if you play StarCraft, think Kerrigan.
Yeah.
From the why am I forgetting the name? Zerg. From the Zerg. Kerrigan from the Zerg. This is that version of it, but a good character. It's really well done.
And I like that she's it's really well written. There's not, like I said, this is just one issue. It's not that long, but like you can already tell that she's the one that obviously rubs people the wrong way.
Well,
off the
she's
start.
Golgari.
Yeah, right.
She's a Gorgon.
She's basically green black.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
She's literally, and plus too, the other thing too is that unless you've read the lore, like Vraska and Jace, like they have a history. They have a history.
Oh yeah.
Like Jace loves his snakes. It's very interesting. But
to say the least.
But nonetheless, it's like again like for Vraska to be a part of because the ones they go after Kaya, who is a spirit assassin. She's basically she goes after spirits that she's sent to hunt down and kills them with her spirit daggers. And then Ral Zarek was another one.
Yep.
He's part of the Is It League, which is like the League of Inventors. He controls a lot. He's kind of like your Thor. He controls a lot of electricity, does a lot with shock. And then the other one was Vraska that they went after.
Yes.
And then after that, the funny thing is that they sent those ones to them to keep them away from Jace so that they could send a special team towards Jace.
Yeah. There's like decoys.
You can definitely see that this was very, very deliberate.
Very well thought out.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
So yes, it's awesome. This whole comic again. Like, do we recommend it? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean,
even the artwork is real. I don't know. You said Boom Studios, right?
Boom Studios. I actually am not familiar with the artist that actually did the interior of the book, but I'm really impressed with it. Like, I got to say, like,
this one is very clean. It gives me a very Star Wars vibe.
Yeah, actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think the artist that did this did some art for Marvel Star Wars. So
we've talked about before, is really good.
It's really good. So yeah, I'd recommend it. Dev recommend it. Don,
I definitely recommend it.
Awesome.
But if you're going to get it,
yeah.
You go after the Planeswalker variant covers.
So with this one, there's obviously with comics there are variant covers. There's a classic cover A, but then as Don said, he's collecting the secret Planeswalker. It comes in a foil bag. You got a cover over it, so you don't see which one you get until you open it. But the artwork on those are super cool. Like I got one for free actually when I worked at Bigby, and they were pretty cool.
Oh, dude, I think it's issue 2 or 3. Like the pick, like they've got an amazing looking Nahiri.
Nice.
And they have an amazing looking Garruk. I think it's
That's
issue 2.
Really cool.
My boy.
Oh my God, they look amazing.
So there you have it, folks. There's our episode on TCG. Super excited to have Don here.
Thank you so much,
such a blast. This
excellent, excellent. We'll probably do another one again in the future. But until then, the sun is getting low in the sky, so lower your swords, put away your dice, and power down your consoles. You've traveled far on your adventures. Now rest your weary heads. Good night, folks!
Good night, guys.